There is a query that has haunted humans for hundreds of years. What's the quickest manner to get wealthy? The majority waste their entire lives trying to find the solution. However, the truth has constantly been hidden in undeniable sight. The wealthy do not need you to comprehend it, because if you did, you will prevent playing their sport and start constructing your personal. Allow me let you know this. Riches don't come to the neatest person within the room or even the toughest employee. If that have been authentic, teachers, nurses, or production people might be billionaires. No riches come to the person that knows electricity and how to show power into money. Machiavelli, the thinker who wrote The Prince, made this clean masses of years in the past. He taught that money flows to those who can control others, bend situations to their will, and notice opportunities earlier than all people else does. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. The majority will by no means get wealthy. Not due to the fact they are no longer successful, but due to the fact they may be trapped inside the wrong mindset. They suppose cash comes from gambling it secure, from operating activity for 40 years, or from saving each greenback. However, Machiavelli would chuckle at that. He'd say, wealth comes from bold actions, from knowing when to hazard the whole thing, and from having the courage to do what others fear. So in case you need the quickest direction to riches, you have to first burn this into your mind. Safe is slow, formidable is speedy. The man who dares to do what others won't, he's the one who climbs the ladder the fastest. Reflect on consideration on it. While you see someone upward push to wealth, it nearly continually appears unexpected. 365 days they're unknown, and the following they're everywhere, strolling businesses, making headlines, living in mansions. However, right here's the trick. Their rise wasn't magic. It became strategy. They used standards which might be as vintage as battle itself. And these days I'm going to break the one's standards down for you Machiavelli style, so you can see the route for yourself. Let's begin with the commonplace mistake that keeps people terrible. Most people believe wealth comes from running more difficult. They think in the event that they put in more hours, in the event that they hustle non-prevent, they'll in the end destroy through. But here's the sad reality. Tough paintings alone keeps you trapped. Go searching. The hardest workers in society regularly earn the least. Why? Because their effort is being bought to someone else. They may be buying and selling time for cash at the same time as the rich are trading ideas and influence for money. Machiavelli would say, the person who works for every other is constantly a servant. The person who makes others' paintings for him is always a master. That's the key difference. And that is why the masses stay broke. They maintain searching out money inside the incorrect place. They sell their labor as opposed to building leverage. So, what's the power principle right here? It is easy. Control creates wealth. In case you need to get rich speedy, you want to position yourself in a function wherein your choices flow cash, not your muscle groups. The wealthy do not just work. They roll themselves at the pinnacle of a machine. They personal, they lead, they have an impact on. Let me damage it down with psychology. Why does this work? Because human beings are stressed to comply with leaders, not equals. When you display fact, self-assurance, and the capacity to take ambitious motion, people rally round you. They give you their time, their power, even their money. And once you manipulate that drift, you can multiply it fast. That's why building electricity and impact is 10 instances quicker than just running difficult. Now, permits talk approximately the result of doing it the incorrect way. If you choose the sluggish direction, if you select to play it safe, you trap yourself in a recreation you can't win. Consider operating for 40 years most effective to retire with slightly enough to live on. It truly is now not wealth. It really is slavery with a grin, and the worst element, you've got given the first-class years of your lifestyles to constructing a person else's fortune. Those who live in that entice usually ask, why them? and not me. They see the wealthy growing and suppose it is good fortune, but it is no longer success. It's layout. It is Machiavellian design. The rich set up the sport so that each circulate your making builds their empire, not yours. And if you don't wake up, you will preserve constructing palaces for kings at the same time as residing in a cage yourself. So what's the alternative? The alternative is to suppose like a prince, not a servant. In preference to asking how am I able to make cash, ask how can I build strength, because energy draws money like a magnet. When you control attention, while you manage sources, when you control possibilities, the cash comes dashing in, and it comes speedy. Examine commercial enterprise empires, observe political dynasties, study the folks who dominate industries. None of them got there through working harder than anybody else. They were given there with the aid of seizing manipulate, by strolling into arenas wherein the majority are too scared to play, and with the aid of transferring decisively when the moment became right. Here are a few realistic strategies to move quicker. Construct leverage, no longer exertions. Prevent wondering like a worker and start thinking like an owner. Ownership is the fastest escalator to wealth. This can suggest proudly owning a business, owning interest online, or proudly owning property that grow without your consistent attempt. Be bold on your actions. Machiavelli said, "Fortune favors the ambitious." If you see an opportunity, do not anticipate ideal timing. Flow. The general public drown in hesitation. The fast movers are the ones who seize the prize. Manage notion. Wealth is frequently built on recognition. If people see you as powerful, clever, and unshakable, they'll consider you, follow you, and spend money on you. This is how leaders multiply riches. Cut the dead weight. Do not waste years proving yourself in places that cannot praise you. In case your surroundings is a cage, stroll out. Find arenas where power is up for grabs. Play to win. Whilst you operate those tactics, something incredible occurs. Others start chasing you. They feel your energy, your boldness, your capability to create possibilities. All at once, doors that had been once locked open up. Buyers call you. Customers line up. Companions beg to work with you. And that shift from you chasing money to money chasing you is the moment you start to upward push quick. But permit me alert you, the upward push isn't for the faint of heart. When you play the sport of rapid wealth, you may be tested. Human beings will envy you. They may doubt you. Try to block your direction. However, Machaveli teaches us that this resistance is proof of your electricity. If no one is trying to forestall you, it means you are not moving speedy enough or ambitious enough. Now, let's pass deeper. For folks that need to master this at a complicated degree, here is a fact the general public will in no way pay attention. Every so often the quickest way to get wealthy isn't always just to build, however to take. Have a look at history. Many high-quality fortunes were made no longer through creating something new, but by seizing what already existed. Whether or not it's buying out competition, dominating a marketplace, or claiming resources others omitted, the boldest moves frequently come from capturing, no longer just developing. The world is packed with untapped opportunities, looking ahead to a person with the braveness to claim them. However, the average individual never sees them due to the fact they are too busy operating, too busy obeying, too busy gambling secure, and that's why they never rise. So in case you want the quickest route to riches, take into account this. You need to stop being a servant and begin being a strategist. Your mind have to come to be sharper than your arms. Your courage must come to be louder than your fears. And your actions need to be bolder than the humans around you. That is what separates the rich from the relaxation. When you grasp this, when you forestall chasing money and begin building power, you turn out to be unforgettable. Human beings can't ignore you. Opportunities cannot skip you by way of Money starts flowing into your existence at a pace that appears unreal to those nonetheless caught in the antique recreation. They may call you lucky, they will call you ruthless, but you'll know the fact. You performed the game the way it was supposed to be played, Machiavelli's manner, and that, my pal, is the quickest manner to get wealthy. So now you understand the truth. Velocity in wealth does not come from working tougher, but from questioning sharper and transferring bolder. However, the query stays, what specific steps can you take proper now to start this journey? How are you going to go from wherein you're these days, perhaps broke or caught, to hiking fast into real wealth? Let's smash it down in Machiavellian phrases. Step 1 is to apprehend where you are in the sport. Most people don't even realize what sport they're playing. They assume lifestyles is about getting by using, paying payments, maybe saving a bit. It truly is now not a game. It is a prison. If you want to get rich, you must first admit to yourself, I have been gambling the incorrect game. The terrible play survival. The wealthy play domination. And the regulations are completely specific. In survival mode, your purpose is to closing. In domination mode, your goal is to amplify. The person who survives will in no way come to be rich because survival makes you timid. It makes you afraid of loss. However, the person who plays for expansion, who's inclined to danger, to fight, to push, that man or woman has the engine for wealth. Machiavelli as soon as stated that fortune is sort of a female. It rewards the bold, the competitive, the only who dares to behave. What does that imply for you? It way in case you need to move fast, you cannot tiptoe your way to wealth. You must strike. You must circulate with pressure, even if you do not have everything found out. Right here's the commonplace mistake that kills speed. Looking forward to ideal timing. Human beings say, I will start when I have extra money, whilst I have extra time, when the financial system is better. That waiting becomes an entice. They end up waiting all the time. The wealthy don't wait. They strike. They flow even as others hesitate. And due to that, they snatch opportunities earlier than anybody else even sees them. Reflect on consideration on it. Whilst a new marketplace opens up, who gets wealthy? The primary movers. While a trend explodes, who gets the wealth? Those who acted early, no longer the ones who sat round thinking about it. In case you need the quickest path to wealth, your velocity of choice had to be quicker than the common man's doubt. Now, examine the psychology at the back of this. Why does boldness create riches? Due to the fact cash follows reality. People are drawn to leaders who act with conviction. Even in case you don't have all the answers, if you task reality and passion with braveness, others will believe you, spend money on you, and observe you. That agree with is leverage, and leverage is the way you multiply money at lightning speed. But what occurs in case you ignore this? The result is brutal. You come to be invisible. Nobody follows you. No one invests in you. No one bets on you. You combo into the gang of cautious, timid people who play secure and stay broke. Worse, while you finally decide to behave, it's too late. The possibility is long past, already taken by means of a person who dared at the same time as you hesitated. So, what is the alternative? You need to rewire your mind to see hesitation as death. Whenever you feel yourself keeping back, ask, what might a prince do? What would the man who desires to upward thrust quickest select? The answer is nearly continually to behave boldly, despite the fact that the path isn't always clear. Allow me provide you with a few realistic techniques to transport quicker. Create a bias for action. Prevent overthinking. If an idea excites you, check it within 24 hours. Do not wait a week. Don't watch for permission. Flow now. Use fear as gasoline. Worry doesn't imply forced all. Fear where you are on the edge of strength. Teach yourself to behave whilst worry rises, not retreat. Function yourself in warm arenas. Quickest wealth is always made in fast-converting fields. Era, media, finance, emerging industries. Those are the battlefields wherein fortunes are constructed overnight. Don't waste a while in lifeless industries. Leverage different people's sources. You do not want to personal the whole lot. Manipulate it. Partnerships, investors, networks. Use other human beings as money, time, and abilities to transport faster than you ever ought to alone. While you apply those, something shifts. Unexpectedly, instead of chasing crumbs, you are grabbing whole pies. You'll note human beings begin to see you otherwise. They experience momentum. They feel which you're now not simply another dreamer, however a mover, and movers entice riches. Now, let's speak about how others react when you undertake this Machiavellian velocity. At first, they will chuckle at you. They may say you are reckless, loopy, or unrealistic, but while your ambitious actions start paying off, the ones identical humans will flip. They may say you had been fortunate. They will act like they believed in you all alongside. It truly is the sample. First they doubt, then they envy, then they chase. Recognize this. Envy is a sign you're rising. Whilst humans start whispering about you, criticizing you, trying to tug you down, it means you are shifting speedy sufficient to be observed. If nobody envies you, you are invisible, and invisibility is demise in the game of wealth. For people who want to play on the advanced level, here is a secret. Speed comes from controlling now not just your personal moves, however also controlling the movements of others. Reflect on consideration on generals in conflict. They don't combat every warfare themselves. They direct armies. They multiply their strength through others. In case you need to rise fast, you ought to do the same. This means you want to learn how to recruit, convince, and influence humans to act in approaches that serve your vision. Whether or not it is employees, partners, or followers online, your ability to control motion through effect will make you unstoppable, and when you grasp that, you will pass 10 times faster than any lone wolf may want to. Now, let's imagine the end game. What occurs while you circulate boldly, seize possibilities, and control leverage. You create an empire in record time. You're not scraping by means of dictating terms. Human beings come to you. They are trying to find your approval, your investment, your steerage. Money turns into a byproduct, now not the primary purpose. And that's the factor where riches flood in at a speed most people cannot even recognize. But bear in mind, this game isn't approximately money alone. Fast wealth is ready power. The cash is simply evidence of you have an impact on. And once you've got that impact, you may create extra cash anytime you want. It really is why the wealthy never worry dropping it. They recognize they are able to construct it return. Again, due to the fact they manipulate the levers of power. Stop ready, forestall doubting. Pick one ambitious move you have been doing away with and do it nowadays, not tomorrow, no longer next week, nowadays, because wealth does not wait for the timid. It flows to the daring, and right here's reality you should burn into your thoughts. The fastest way to get rich is not to play secure, however to play like a prince, to take formidable risks, to capture possibilities earlier than the group, to apply energy, no longer exertions, and to move so speedy that the arena has no choice, however, to observe you. As Machiavelli might whisper if he had been here today, fortune belongs to the bold, and the bold do not wait. Now that we've damaged down the ideas of pace, allows go deeper into the strategies. Due to the fact ideas are powerful, but strategies are what flip energy into riches. Machiavelli understood that wealth is not pretty much what you realize. It's about how you operate that understanding to bend the sector for your will. So, let's talk approximately the hidden gears that make rapid wealth possible. If you have a look at every person who has risen fast from tycoons in commercial enterprise to rulers in records, you may see the identical sample. They master leverage. Leverage is the artwork of doing more with much less. It's how you're making one move and get 10 consequences. It is how you multiply time, energy, and money. There are 4 most important sorts of leverage that may take you from broke to wealthy quicker than something else. Cash, human beings, expertise, and interest. Permits begin with cash leverage. This is straightforward. The usage of other human beings' money to build your empire. The terrible worry debt. The rich weaponize it. Bad say, I can't begin until I save enough. The wealthy say, who am I able to accomplish with? Who am I able to borrow from? Who can I attract to fund this? In case you need to get rich fast, you should prevent fearing the device that the wealthy use every unmarried day. Cash is a soldier, and in case you don't command it, someone else will use it against you. Subsequent is human beings' leverage. On my own, you circulate slowly. With others, you circulate at lightning velocity. Have a look at kings, CEO, or influencers. None of them built their empires by myself. They constructed networks. They rallied armies of followers, personnel, or lovers who worked, sold, or spread their message. If you may inspire or direct others, you may scale yourself infinitely. This is why management is one of the most precious abilities inside the global. Then there is understanding leverage. This doesn't simply imply having data. It method knowing what others do not and using it earlier than they trap on. Consider buyers who noticed opportunities in tech before it exploded. Reflect on consideration on rulers who struck alliances before their enemies even found